When you're offering people here jobs, right? You're saying that they would have to pay you money to get that. So in reality, you're trying to convince them to pay you money to be part of your company.
Claims of defaming. Be very careful defaming when you don't know the fact.
Already in the intro, we're getting Patrick threatening defamation, crying defamation. An MLM pyramid scheme scammer's favorite word in the entire dictionary, defamation. Hey, Patrick, it's not defamation if it's true.
Patrick David, I'm an entrepreneur and founder of PBD Podcast. Today, I'm
entrepreneur doesn't say what the entrepreneurial thing that he did was, and founder of PBD Podcast. How about you talk about where you actually made your money, Patrick? How about you talk about PHP agency, people helping people, a multi-level marketing scheme? Yes, that's what it is. Uh-oh, defamation. Uh-oh, defamation alert.
But I'm also not sure you entirely know what capitalism is, and if it's okay, I'd like to ask a couple questions about your job.
Sure.
Because you're offering that. I know that you're Valuetainment, right? You run a YouTube podcast. Mm-hmm. You also run PHP agency, right?
Yep.
Yes. And you sell life insurance policies, right?
Life insurance and annuities.
Yes. I read an article by the Daily Beast which argued that you make more money from recruitment fees to get people to work for you than you make money from selling those policies. Capitalism is when you provide a service and sell the labor of yourself or the person who works for you in return for money. But you're not really doing that, right? You're selling being part of the company through recruitment fees. I'm not sure that's capitalism.
How familiar are you with the insurance industry?
Pretty familiar.
Are you?
Yes.
You've been in the industry before?
No, my grandfather was, and I asked him a lot of questions.
So in the insurance industry, when you're in it,
yes,
you get paid by selling life insurance policies, and you get paid by selling annuities.
Here's the first great deflection. Patrick does something every MLM I've ever seen does, where he go, what do you know about the insurance industry? Never mind the fact that whatever product an MLM is selling is just the disguise of that MLM. Deviates the conversation away from the structure of the MLM, which is inherently fraudulent. The endless chain is inherently fraudulent. It's what a pyramid scheme and a Ponzi scheme both rely upon, the endless chain. Instead, he goes, what do you know about the insurance industry? Well, Patrick, I'm sorry to tell you, you're not in the insurance industry. You're in the multi-level marketing industry, and you use insurance as your disguise. Herbalife would say, oh, we're in the supplement health industry, but they're not. Monet, they're in the skincare, hair care industry, but they're not. They're just using those products as their disguise for what the real moneymaker is, which is the endless chain.
Yes.
We built a distribution channel of a company right after I left Morgan Stanley and Transamerica. We started the insurance company. We grew it, helping middle-income families who didn't have another opportunity to create wealth for themselves.
The next lie here is calling it a distribution channel. It's actually not a distribution channel, because if you've read Ponzinomics, you'll understand that the word sell actually means to buy. When you're recruiting people with promises of wealth so that they pay to join your company and pay to buy products as either a mandatory or de facto mandatory condition of being a seller for the company, every month you're having to hit quotas. You're having to hit a PV, usually it's called PV, personal volume, in order to maintain your rank and be eligible to receive anything, any commissions. Yes, it can come from actually selling the product or service of the MLM, but you know what it also comes from in every single MLM I've ever looked at? You yourself as the distributor buying the product or service, and you recruit other people who get their own PV, and the people below you's PV is calculated into TV, which is your team volume, or your OV, which is your organization volume, and that goes into this convoluted system of calculating how much you make. So once again, it relies on recruiting people who buy from the company. So it's not actually a distribution channel so much as it is an internal consumption channel. All these people are joining the ecosystem of that MLM and buying from the company, buying from the company, buying from the company. They are the customers. He sprinkles another cherry of a lie on top of that previous lie where he says, we grew it helping middle-income families who didn't have another opportunity to create wealth for themselves. MLMs do the opposite of that. They recruit the most desperate, the most vulnerable people in society with false promises of wealth if they would only be committed enough, if they would only believe and duplicate the system and follow what their upline mentor said and recruit 5 people who recruit 5 people who recruit 5 people, and it's going to be easy and we're all going to be rich. That is a lie.
We don't make more money from recruiting.
I read the Daily Beast article that did that. I also watched Coffeezilla's debate with you where he pulled up receipts that the majority of the employees of your company don't make any money.
At least somebody said something about it. The chart below illustrates PHP's commissions paid to life licensed agents in the period of January 1st through December 31st. First deception to note in this is that it says these are the commissions paid to its life licensed agents. So you have to go through a licensing program or course with the state or province that you live in, and that can cost around $500. So this isn't even factoring in all the people who paid to join but didn't end up getting licensed. New associates must also complete and execute the new associate agreement and pay a one-time fee of $199. Additionally, a required annual fee, $99 for associates and $180 for marketing directors, is due via commissions for the platform, which provide blah, 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 blah. More costs. And by the way, it's an average income, which as we know is deceptive because average can be skewed. If you took the average earnings between me and Bezos Elon for the year, it would basically be their income divided by 2 because the amount that I make is so much less. This makes the person who made a lot look like they're not making as much, and it makes the person who lost money look like they're not doing so bad. So keep that in mind when you see a figure like this, $1 million going to 0.17%. Think about it. If there's 100 people in the company, 1% would be one person. So we're talking 0.17% of a person made this. Okay, the amount of people that made under $1,000, specifically an average of $388 for the entire year, we're talking $32 a month or $8 a week before expenses and before the opportunity cost of your time, gas, tickets for events, merchandise, training, etc. Even in this layer, from the $5,000 to $10,000 range, $6,911. We're talking $575 a month, $143 a week before expenses. This is commensurate with all of the other multi-level marketing disclosures that I've seen where the vast majority of people lose money, and it's clear as day, even despite the deceptions of omitting the people who didn't make it to the point of getting licensed, and by using an average rather than the median, which would be a more transparent number.
Here's a question for you. Bring up Coffeezilla.
Yeah.
Daily Beast is a different story. Go to Coffeezilla.
Sure, of course.
Do you think if I was worried about my business model, I would go on Coffeezilla?
You have to love how smug and overzealous and completely disingenuous somebody like Patrick has to be in order to double down. If Coffeezilla is making videos about you, you fucked up. That's number one. Okay? I'm talking like Patrick now. That's number one, okay? By the way, do you think if I was worried about my business model, I would go on Coffeezilla? I've had countless multi-level marketing scammers willingly join me for debates on my channel because they are so deluded that they actually believe they can convince me and or my audience that what they're doing is totally above board. And just like Patrick did in his debate with Coffeezilla, they crumble, they deviate, they deflect, they go around in circles, they answer questions with questions, they attack your credibility, they attack the source, they tell you some story, and that's exactly what Patrick did in his 2021 debate with Coffeezilla. Highly recommend. You can go watch it. I'll put the link in the description. This is like a variation of the other argument people in MLMs use where they say, well, if it was illegal, we would have been shut down a long time ago. If we were scamming, we wouldn't be allowed to operate. As though every person who's committing crime, as soon as they commit the crime, just magically teleports to jail. As if the FTC has unlimited financial resources to litigate these companies and investigate them, which takes usually many, many years. It's just a disingenuous, dishonest response to say, oh, well, do you think if I was worried about my business model, I would go on Coffeezilla? You know what? If I was running an MLM, I also wouldn't be worried largely either. Because yeah, most of them don't get caught. And if they do get caught, the FTC can't bring criminal charges. They can only bring a civil case. They can only create like preventative orders that bar you from, being an officer of an MLM company in the future, for example, make you pay financial fines, which usually pale in comparison to the amount that was scammed out of people in the first place, and on and on. It's just, like I said, it's just a variation of the whole, well, if what we were doing was so bad, why would I be doing it? Do you really think it's just gaslighting? Also, when it comes to the Coffeezilla thing, yeah, people do damage control all the time. I literally just before I filmed this, released a video about Netanyahu going on, ironically, Patrick's podcast to do damage control.
So I believe the technical term for when you make more money from getting people to be part of a company than from actually selling a service is called a multi-level marketing scheme. Do you think that that's a fair characterization of your company? Why not?
Do you know what multi-level is?
Yes, I know. It's where you make more money from, it's sort of like a pyramid scheme wherein you make more money from getting people to be part of it and selling them to be part of the company.
He doesn't do a great job articulating what a multi-level marketing company is, but he's close enough. Let's hear what Patrick says.
A pyramid scheme doesn't have a product.
Another lie. This is a blatant lie that he is telling with that straight face, with those stupid dead eyes. and he knows it's a lie. First of all, Patrick, this is from Truth in Advertising, FTC pyramid scheme cases post-Amway. Okay, right here is a list of all the MLM companies that were shut down for being illegal pyramid schemes since the Amway case in 1979. Guess what? All of these companies had products. Every single one of those companies had products. Having products does not preclude you from being an illegal pyramid scheme. As a matter of fact, having a product would be the best way to disguise operating a pyramid scheme if you were to operate one. And let's just look at what the FTC says about multi-level marketing and pyramid schemes. Pyramid schemes are scams. They can look remarkably like legitimate MLM business opportunities and often sell actual products. Here are the red flags of a pyramid scheme they actually outline. Promoters make extravagant promises about your earning potential. Promoters emphasize recruiting new distributors for your sales network as the real way to make money. Promoters play on your emotions or use high-pressure sales tactics, maybe saying you'll lose the opportunity if you don't act now, and distributors buy more products than they want to use or can resell just to stay active in the company or to qualify for bonuses or other rewards. In my experience with researching PHP and talking to people who used to be in the company, I have seen all of these. To take it a step further, I like to use Robert Fitzpatrick's 4 red flags of a pyramid scheme: the endless chain, pay to play, the emphasis on recruitment, and the extreme money transfer from the bottom 99% to the top less than 1%, which, as we saw in the PHP income disclosure, the extreme money transfer and the pay to play is there. And if we look at their compensation plan, you will also see the financial incentive for recruitment. We'll also see that it's an endless chain. So even the authority on pyramid schemes, the Federal Trade Commission, who I've been critical of because they've refused to articulate the difference, if there is one, between MLMs and pyramid schemes. They've also refused or can't name one company that operates as a legitimate multi-level marketing company. Every MLM that was shut down for being a pyramid scheme was a legitimate MLM up until the day it was discovered not to be. So this is just a completely disingenuous lie. Multi-level marketing companies and pyramid schemes are identical in their traits. If you're claiming that they're two different things, or if you're claiming that pyramid schemes don't have a product and it's just cash, which is a Ponzi scheme, not a pyramid scheme, then you have to back up that claim.
That's criminal. A multi-level marketing company is more like an Amway, an Herbalife, a New Skin, those companies. Okay. But because it pays you.
You are making more money from getting people to be part of your company than you are from making money from actually providing a service.
That's not true. It's a claim by Daily Beast. By the way, do you know what a quality of earnings is?
Yes.
What's a quality of earnings? Tell everybody what a quality of earnings is.
Another deflection, answering a question with a question. Quality of earnings is completely irrelevant when it comes to this topic of whether or not you ran a pyramid scheme. I've used this analogy before because it's the most morally reprehensible thing that was once considered legal and people thought it was somewhat normal. Slavery was legal. Imagine a slave plantation owner being like, well, when I went to sell my slave plantation, they did a quality of earnings to make sure everything was running above board and that it was a financially sound investment. Okay, and the pompous, overconfident, malicious, lying way that Patrick Bet David doubles down on these claims reminds me of the video of Bernie Madoff when he's doing an interview before he was captured, where he says it's virtually impossible in today's regulatory environment to break the rules while he was running a Ponzi scheme.
Today's regulatory environment, it's virtually impossible to violate rules.
I think this income disclosure also heavily suggests, based on the fact that new distributors have to pay a $1.99 fee to join, that yes, it is entirely possible that the company is making more money off of these enrollment fees than actually selling products or services. Of course, I don't have the actual financial disclosure, the tax submission to know that for a fact. But if the emphasis is on recruiting, which I will tell you in every multi-level marketing company I've ever looked at, it is, and every one of those recruits has to pay $200 to join, regardless of if they end up even getting licensed or ever making a sale or not, then yeah, it is understandable and reasonable to suggest that the majority of money is made from recruitment.
Do you know what you're selling? You're selling your personal brand. You're selling the idea, because when you're offering people here jobs, right? You're saying that they would have to pay you money to get that. So in reality, you're trying to convince them to pay you money to be part of your company.
Claims of defaming. Be very careful defaming when you don't know the facts.
You have a recruitment fee.
Be very careful.
You do have a recruitment fee.
They do have a recruitment fee. That is true. This is on their website. Why would that be defamatory?
For making a claim when you said people here have to pay to work at our company.
It's recruitment
fee. Be very
fee.
careful.
It's true. I wish that guy would have been better prepared and better educated for the discussion. Not that it would have mattered. I mean, Coffeezilla was totally well prepared, and Patrick still used all the same deflections and alphabet soup to get around it anyways. So the silver lining is that when he engages in these kinds of debates or discussions about his multi-level marketing past, as short and limited as they may be, it creates a Streisand effect where people will inevitably go and look it up to see if it's true, and they will find out, yes, it is true. He ran a multi-level marketing company, which is a scam, and thus he is a scammer.